Streaming live from the beautiful city of Hollywood, Florida, USA. This is SoFloRadio.com. Z Nation. Z Nation. Where consciousness is queen, love really is the answer. And making a difference is on the menu. Z Nation. Organic beats and inspiring treats. Get your weekly dose of vitamin Z now. This is Z Nation on SoFloRadio.com.
Hello. The mics are hot. Yes, welcome everybody. This is Zaina the Gaia, and this is Z Nation on SoFloRadio.com. We are broadcasting live from Hollywood, Florida. And I'm so excited today. It's Thursday. We're alive. I woke up and I'm still breathing. And
that's right.
And we have awesome guest Pele.
Hello.
Chen?
Yes.
Did I say that right?
That's correct.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. So we're going to get into a lot of different stuff today. I had a really awesome weekend I want to share with you guys. We had the first Teen Whisperer training. Sunset is officially certified. We're rocking the world of
so
Teen
excited.
Whispers. Yeah. This was so cool. This was a vision I've had since I was a teenager, of like wanting to have positive role models, people to speak to, people that I can ask questions to that I don't necessarily want to ask my parents.
True.
And growing up, I never had that. And I always imagined a world where the pop stars of the world were the positive role models. And the ones that had all this exposure and all this power were the ones that were making a difference and really contributing to the youth. So I'm not a pop star. That's what I wanted to be when I was a kid, Sunset. It's only because I really wanted to make a difference in the world, because I got that they have so much influence, right? So we've got to infiltrate the pop star community. But anyways, so we created Teen Whisperer. And the Teen Whisperer program is a program where we basically were committed to transforming the world by empowering the youth. And really letting them know, A, that we know who the heck they are. We're clear that they are light beings, that they are powerful, and that, we're counting on them.
Right.
And the sad thing, but I wouldn't say it's so sad. It's really, it provides for us an opportunity and a challenge, is that the youth of today are, a lot of them are insanely brilliant, and the school system and the systems is not recognizing it and labeling them things like ADD and bipolar, and then they believe that's what they have. Mm-hmm. And not only that, they have symptoms that the system doesn't know how to handle, like they have short attention span, or they can't sit still, or whatever it is, and they treat those symptoms as a problem, mm-hmm. and they give them medication, mm-hmm. and then they are hooked on the medication, and then they go to rehab because they're taking this medication, and they grow up thinking that there's something really wrong with them. So as a Teen Whisperer, our gift is that we get who they are, and we listen to them as whole, perfect, and complete. We really see their greatness, and we don't teach them something they don't know, because we come with the preconceived notion that they are, they are light beings, and they have everything within them to realize that. Correct. However, they just need to be reminded.
Right.
And I think one of the things that happens is parents are also very brilliant, and they have so many things that they want to teach their children. But oftentimes, because of the label of mother or father, that message just doesn't come through, or maybe doesn't come through how you want it to. And, this came up in the training is, back in the day, it took a whole village, right, to raise a child. And that role of the person, besides the parents, that would be there for the child, as they grow up, and to guide them and to mentor them in a way that, you know, only somebody other than the parent figure can do. That role has disappeared because we're in our, you know, block apartments and our 4 picket fences, and neighbors don't speak to each other as much. And the concept of a village raising a family or raising a child it's non-existent. Mm-hmm. So this was created to fill that gap, between really the young people and their parents, and to create like a bridge so that they can communicate better and understand each other better. Because the dynamic of that relationship is really like any other relationship, right? Learning how to deeply listen to each other, learning how to really appreciate the other person and take full responsibility for our end of the relationship. So you guys have heard of the dog whisperer, right?
Most definitely.
So the dog whisperer is somebody that comes to your home, and you have a dog that's acting out, and the first thing he'll tell you is, I'm not going to train your dog right now. I'm going to train you. Because your energy creates the clearing in which your dog is showing up. And however your energy is, your dog will be like that. And of course, it's the same with people. And of course, it's the same with parents and children. So what a teen whisperer does is we work with both the parent and the children, and we work with them together. And we're not counselors. We're not psychologists. What we do is we simply love. We love the young people, we love the parents, and we're really committed to families working and loving each other. So I want to tell you a little bit about the training. So this last Sunday was the first official certification, and it was from 10 to 5, and we had 12 people that came in and 12 teen whisperers that left, and it was awesome. So it had 6 modules, and I think next time I do it, we actually have the next one scheduled, by the way. It's September 13th. We're doing it again. But the first thing that we deal with is called you and your parents. So, you know, if you're going to be somebody who is working with families and their children, you really want to look at your own relationship with your parents, because whatever is incomplete for you with your parents and your upbringing is going to show up.
That's right.
In different forms. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what that does, you know, it may bring judgments or resentment. And, you know, as somebody who's making a difference in families, we want to get that stuff complete or out of the way so that we can be just a clear vessel of love. So we did this exercise. That was so awesome. So one of the things that we explored is each teen whisperer has a niche, right? Like my specialty is young girls, and specifically whose parents have separated, and the young girls resent their fathers. Right?
Lots
and
of those.
Yes.
I may be one. No, I love my dad. I love it. I do.
Yes. Well, my exploration has been, for me, you know, my relationship with my father. And it's something that's been continually healing and it's an ongoing relationship, and it's ongoing. And so we did this exercise where everybody wrote down what I love about one of my parents. You pick the one that is the most challenging relationship. And even if you have a great relationship with both, you pick one and you write down for a couple of minutes everything that comes to mind that you like about them and that you love about them. And then we would pair up, and then you repeat that to your partner. You just read it all off, and you acknowledge that parent. So you get present, you know, to the stuff you love about them. And then the second part was so powerful. We then wrote down everything we don't like about that parent. So we wrote, what I don't like about my dad is boom, 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 boom. I had a whole list. And then when you read it back to your partner, you read it. So instead of saying, what I don't like about my dad is that he's loud and annoying. And instead of saying that, I say, what I don't like is I'm loud and annoying. And then I pause and I see, is that
That's
true?
not true,
Could I be loud and annoying? Sure. I could be loud and annoying.
Yeah.
And then once I recognize it inside of me, I can say, I forgive you, Z. I forgive you, Dad. And that's the root of all forgiveness, right? It's like really recognizing it within us, and then we could really truly forgive others. And it's not even forgiveness anymore, because there's nothing to forgive once you're in that space. Right. I had that happen with my dad. Like, after we did that exercise, I did it too, even though I was leading the class. We were an odd number, so I got to partner with somebody.
Oh yeah, me. You were my partner.
I was your partner. It was so awesome. But, that it was amazing. And, I called my dad the next day and had this just, like, normal conversation. It wasn't anything like, it wasn't like, I'm not going to say it wasn't deep, but here's what had shifted for me. I really got that all there is to do with my dad is love and accept him exactly how he is. And really, my expectations have been that he should love and accept me how I am. But after we did that exercise, it was like all this stuff that's been in the space for me to love and accept him exactly how he is just disappeared, because I accepted it within me.
Yeah.
And I got humanity. I got compassion. And it's so easy to talk about this stuff, but we've got to do the work so it actually processes through.
Right.
Right? Because it's the experience of it, and it's our willingness to do the work. And really, for me, I preach this a lot, but it's really something that I live by, is really go to sleep with your heart just clear, your heart open. And whatever there is to complete, and oftentimes it's the relationships in our life that teach us the most, complete it. Have those conversations, and let's not take each day for granted and each other for granted. So that was module 1. That was just the beginning of the training. But it was important to address that before we got into the work of, the actual coaching and the actual training of being with families with their teens. And then we talked a lot about listening, and about we experienced and practiced different ways of listening. Like, you could listen just normal listening. And normal listening for a human being is actually we don't listen. Like, normal listening for a human being, and that includes me, I'm human. So what we default to is there's a little voice in your head, we'll call it that voice. And if you're not sure what voice I'm talking about, it's the one that's saying, what is she talking about? That voice is ongoingly, having its own commentary. It just goes on and on. And while people are talking to us, the default for a human being is to listen to what the voice is saying about what they're saying. And the voice generally loves to judge and assess everything. Oh, I agree with this. Oh, I don't agree with this. Oh, her hair didn't look like that last time. I forgot to get the peas for the soup. I gotta get the peas. Yoga. I gotta get to yoga. Gotta bring a CD to her. What? And that's right. That's the voice.
No doubt.
and it's like a fish in water. We don't realize, or at least I didn't realize, that voice was what I was listening to until I got it. And the practice of yoga, meditation, transformational programs that have us really become aware of that voice. And then we have an opportunity to choose. And when we listen, how we listen can shift everything in a relationship. So, for example, we could listen for somebody's greatness, or we could listen for somebody's smallness. And however we listen, whether I listen to you as just great and awesome, that's how you're going to show up. And if I listen to you as a jerk and small, you could be guaranteed that that's how you're going to show up, at least in my occurring world. And my occurring world is the only thing that's real for me. And so
So true.
Yeah.
So true.
So we practice that. We practice listening in different ways. We could listen, for example, when we talk to someone and they're speaking, we can listen for their commitment. So an example would be, your parent says, "Oh, I just can't take it anymore. Your room is a mess. I just can't take it anymore." And really the commitment there is just to have a clean house, to have a house that works, to have harmony in the house. But what comes out is all this, and learning to just really hear what's behind, all that comes out. So it's a practice, and it's something that we develop with practice, just like anything else. Because remember, our default is to be in our head listening to that voice. So it takes practice ongoingly to keep coming out and being in life. And life ain't in your head. It's really not. It's a lonely place. It's very scary sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Dangerous place. But when we come out and we breathe, and it's really helpful when you're outside because the breeze and the trees, the sounds of the birds, it brings us into that, this is life.
Right. Reminds you what's really important, or what's true, and what's sensitive, and what makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Naturally.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And our minds, or that voice, can just so derail us. But even with just the simplicity of the breathing, you take a breath and it's something goes off in the brain, present moment. And yeah, the mind loves to hang out in the past and worry about the future. But all that stuff is a little cray-cray, isn't it? When we get present to it, there's just right now.
Right.
So that was the other part of the training, being present and noticing when we're not, because we're human. So the next Teen Whisperer training is happening in South Florida at the I Love Yoga Studio. It's going to be on a Sunday, September 13th. And what's really awesome is we are getting together, the Teen Whisperers from the last training and for the one that's upcoming, and we're creating a community event. And these community events are going to be recreated all over the country by other Teen Whisperers. They're free community events that give families an opportunity to experience connection, bonding, and really listening and really understanding each other. And they're going to be put on and led by Teen Whisperers. And Teen Whisperers come from all kinds of backgrounds. So you may have, yoga teachers, you may have musicians, you may have artists, but everybody has the same commitment and the same underlying gift of communicating and of being a Teen Whisperer. So these events are so cool because we're going to have workshops for the parents only. And we're going to have workshops for the young people only. And then we're going to bring everybody together and create a workshop with everybody. So the opportunity is to get certified and then to participate in the event with us. And these events are Teen Whisperer events. So it's also an opportunity for families to meet us, to discover what we do, and see if it's something they want to try out. Because it's I don't know, it's like a brand new concept, right? And at first people are like, what do you do? And we have to explain it. And
sure.
The best way I could explain it is the way I explained it at the very beginning of the show, which is, somebody who can communicate to your child the wisdom and the stuff that you want implanted in their brains and in their hearts in a way that you can't do just because you're the parent.
Right. I mean, I have a 15-year-old.
Yes.
I have had so many opportunities to help her develop, but there are many things that I notice she'll grasp from other teachers in her life, whether it be school, other parents, or even friends, or aunts or uncles, and of course her father. I know he's still a parent. He's just not my husband anymore, but nevertheless, we have, it still does take a whole village. I mean, we still actually have many people around us that the children listen to, and they grasp. Luckily, they don't grasp everything from everyone. They pick and choose what's beneficial to them and how it fits into their life. So that's how I notice. It's completely true what you're saying. It's very important.
Even when they don't seem to be listening or grasping, they are.
Right.
You know that.
Right.
And I totally get it.
True.
It's when they come back to you and you're like, oh my God, Mom, so-and-so just told me this. And you're like,
I told you that. That's all I ever hear. You're so right. Completely.
And there is a surrender of that. You know, I grew up 7 years senior to my brother, and I raised him growing up, you know, and there was a point where I realized he wasn't receiving my teachings anymore. Like, he got to that age where it was like, I don't need you. Right. And I really had to let him go and realize that the universe will send him the right teachers. These lessons are everywhere. My ego wanted to be the one to teach him.
Yes.
But I can trust that he's going to learn the lessons he needs to learn, and the teachers will show up when he's ready to hear it.
Right.
I wanted to share a little nugget that I got this weekend. So I'm in the Self-Expression and Leadership program at Landmark. It's the third course in the curriculum for living. So the Landmark Forum, and by the way, I just found this out. The movie The Matrix, right, has 3 parts. So the first movie, The Matrix, which I just watched last night, man, that movie is so full of good stuff.
It is.
I need to watch it.
I love that one.
Oh, if you just go to YouTube, you could just watch like the scenes, like when Morpheus comes in for the first time and he meets Neo, like the stuff he says is like, wow. But that movie was made like a documentary of like the world as it is, and it's got so many subliminal messages, right?
Exactly.
And you know the movie The Matrix, the people who made that movie, it came from a self-expression leadership program project. So there are people who did the curriculum for living at Landmark, and then they, you know, in this last program, you're trained and you're coached to create a project to put out into the world as your legacy.
Wow.
And here's a thing that's really been huge for me. You let it go. You give it away, so you don't have your hands in it anymore. Mm-hmm. It's learning how to delegate the leadership, or they call it relocating the possibility of the project. But it's really like empowering people to be leaders and just go on your way.
Right.
So, so they created 3 movies, the 3 Matrix, right? Matrix 1, 2, and 3. And if you watch them, each one of them represents each course of the curriculum for living. So the Landmark Forum, which is the first course, is about like just putting your past in the past and really getting yourself out of the way. And in the advanced course, which, you know, parallels with the second Matrix movie, which I haven't watched the second and the third. We have to do a Matrix night.
Yeah, let's do like a movie night and just do all of them. Let me know.
Pop some
Matrix
organic
weekend.
popcorn and coconut oil. Yeah. So the second movie parallels with the advanced course, and the advanced course really is about how to transform at the level of group and really getting who you are and what you're here for. You come out of there really clear, like, this is what I'm up to in my life. Mm-hmm. And you get clear that you're not going to do it alone. Right? Like, so how to transform at the level of group, how to be somebody like Martin Luther King that has 30 million or whatever it was he had march with him at a time where there was no social media, no cell phones, and he was, you know, he's an example of somebody that really, he mastered that. Right. He mastered being a stand for something in such a way that people will follow you. They'll follow you no matter what you do because you stand for something and your heart is like fully rooted in this. So the last part of the curriculum is where I'm at, is a self-expression leadership program. And that is about transformation at the level of society, at the level of community, at the level of the entire world, like being able to take on projects that are global, that are huge, and getting that I don't have to be the one to do everything. And there's no way I can accomplish really what I came here on this planet at the level at which I want to do with just me.
True.
So it really, like, it involves so much.
So many people's help.
Yeah.
Yes.
And, you know, things like listening, right? How the community listens to us creates who we are.
Right.
And when we really get this, like, wow, like, Pele, how you listen to me creates me. And how I listen to you creates you. And then if there's 10 of me listening to you as a leader, as this extraordinary human being, you keep showing up as that. Mm. So what if you could transform how your community listens to you? What if you could transform how the world listens to you, regardless of what you've done in the past, regardless of who you are, regardless of the choices you made, regardless of the so-called mistakes you've made, that you can create in this present moment a listening for you that would have people, you know, march with you because you're that person. So one distinction that we learned was commitment versus attachment. So, to be somebody who is a leader, you've got to have conversations with people. If you're up to something, you have a project, you have something that you're doing, you're going to want to have all these conversations with different people to enroll them in your project, to see where people are going to fit in. And so we were practicing these conversations. And by the way, my project is the Teen Whisperer Project. So it gave me the push to put it out into the world. So commitment versus attachment is like, when we make a request. So it could be something like, I'll take an example from my business. Me and my business partner, Moses. So when I come into the studio, where I've been coming from before has been attachment. So I've been attached to the studio looking a certain way, for the pens to be in the same place every time, for the mirrors to be Windexed. And when I walk in and those things aren't done, I'm furious and I'm so attached to it. So I come from and I try to sound diplomatic, but who I'm being is totally just so annoyed, right? And then the difference would be coming from commitment. So, the conversation could look like, instead of being like, I noticed that the pens aren't their place, the windows aren't Windexed and all that. Can we please take all that stuff out now and just get things done? Versus coming from my commitment, which is really having a conversation from there and being like, guys, I really want to share with you what I'm creating. So what I'm really committed to is that our space represents what we teach, which is like cleanliness and really having a place that you'd be proud to have your guru in. If my guru Amma came to my studio, I'd want to be able to clean my floors. Eat off my floors or even my own mother. My own mother came.
Exactly.
But for ourselves and for others. But where I was coming from was that I was making everybody wrong for not doing what I thought should be done, instead of sharing with them my commitment and having them share in the commitment with me. That's what I want too. I want cleanliness. I want things to be organized, and I want it for me. And then all of a sudden people it's not like I'm telling them to do something. They're in it with me.
Yes.
And it's more of a partnership than a dictatorship.
They're now more committed. They're more committed now.
Yeah.
Because you put them a part of it. It's not just you got to do this. Da, da, da. No, it's you're a part of it, and you are a representation of this. So if the place is dirty, then are you dirty? Do I want to work with you? Yeah.
It was the same conversation with the Teen Whisperers, with the parents wanting their kids to have their room clean. Coming from attachment, you're nagging, complaining, and, it's not making a difference over there.
Right.
But coming from a commitment, and something that's co-created, let's create what's really important to us in our house. What are you committed to? What am I committed to? And then listen from there. Yeah.
I love it.
All right.
I'm taking that with me.
Okay. It's so perfect that you have a 15-year-old. Yeah.
Hey, I'm thinking about brothers, roommates, friends. I'm talking about all those people.
Everybody.
I can apply to those relationships.
It's so true. It applies to all relationships, and how we are anywhere is how we are everywhere. And that's how we can really tell if we're being authentic or not. If you're acting a certain way in one group of people and then acting another way, there's something kind of off. Something is not quite authentic, something we're pretending, But we're going to talk more about that, and we're going to get more into Pele and what she's up to. I can't wait to pick your brain, girl, and feel your heart. Yes. Right after these important messages from our sponsors. And if you're interested in sponsoring the Z Nation show, contact us. Your support makes a big, big difference in us being here, spreading the message, and spreading the message wider and globally. We'll be right back right here.
Give.
SoFlowRadio.com.
Tune in to get tuned in. This is Z Nation on SoFlowRadio.com.
Add a twist of yoga.
Yoga Twist with Julie.
A great way to integrate yoga, meditation, and lots of fun.
Promote family bonding. help with flexibility and exercise. I teach grown-ups too.
Join Julie for beginner and gentle adult classes.
Book a group, family, or one-on-one session now. Email me, yogatwistjulie@gmail.com.
Follow Yoga Twist Julie on Instagram and like Yoga Twist on Facebook for great family lifestyle tips and Yoga Twist events.
Hi, this is Zaina Dagaya, and I'd love to share with you about my good friend Nicole of Legit Fitness in-home training and yoga. She's a certified yoga teacher, and she's an amazing and experienced trainer that can design a program to fit your specific needs and goals. She's so cool. She's super committed to making fitness and health fun and accessible for everyone. Plus, your first week is free as a new client. Here's how you set up your first session. Either call 305-335-5590 or visit www.getlegitfit.com. GETLEGITFIT. Getlegitfit.com. 305-335-5590. Do it now!
Now, back to Z Nation, your weekly dose of inspiration on SoFloRadio.com.
Dr. Love.
This is why I'm hot, cause I do Qigong. This is why you're not, cause you are not strong. I'm strong, cause I do Qigong. You're weak, cause you get no sleep. I'm strong, cause I do Qigong. You're weak, cause you do not breathe. If you love your lungs will love your heart. When you love your lungs, your chi will start. When you do your breathing, your chi starts to flow. Cultivate your chi and your energy grows.
Are you bobbing your head to this? Are you lifting your heart?
When you plant your chi, your energy starts to flow. Cultivate your chi and your energy grows. Breathe deep, and when you breathe long, then you get Qigong. When you breathe deep, when you breathe long, then you get Qigong. When you love your kidneys love your back. Drinking and no thinking, how you feeling about that? Smoking and no dancing rubs your gang energy. Drinking and no thinking makes you not sexy. When you love your kidneys, your chi starts to flow. Cultivate your chi and your energy grows. I'm strong cause I do Qigong. You're weak cause you do not breathe.
You should breathe.
I'm strong cause I do Qigong. You're weak cause you do not breathe.
Don't breathe. Thank you for tuning us in.
Oh, Dr. Love, I love him.
Sunset, we have all these people in our backyard making tunes.
We gotta continue to highlight them and let us know when you have your music. Send it to us, okay?
Yeah.
We'll highlight it for real.
We want conscious music in the mass music scene.
That's right.
We want Dr. Love breaking it down. Oh, that was awesome. Thank you so much for bringing Dr. Love to us.
Yes.
So welcome, Pele.
Thank you so much for having me. Yes.
You are a gift. Let me introduce you first, and then we're going to do your song. So, Pele, well-being expert, specializing in therapeutic massage, invigorating yoga, detoxification, and healing with foods. Also a mother, founder of naturallyhealingsanctuary.com. And I know you also have a Facebook page with the same name. And
more like Naturally Healing Inc. on
Naturally
Facebook.
Healing Inc.
Yes, yeah. That's the group.
I follow that. It's so important, and I know it makes a difference with a lot of people, what you're sharing.
so much. So many people. I get, comments every day and questions every day. And, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. And I'm not a dietitian. I'm not a nutritionist. Basically, I've come from the background of massage. And initially, I started this 12 years ago. And I got into the field because literally my body was in poor health, and I had just had a child. I went through a divorce. I needed to find a flexible job that I could maintain my own life and build my hours, and just know that I could actually get the money that I thought I was worth. And so I got into the massage field to basically fill that gap. I found it fit. So with doing the massages, I started to have physical ailments and just feeling a lot of pain come up into my own joints and my own body from giving massages, first of all. Although prior to that, the first, let's see how many years, 28 years of my life, 30 years of my life, I was really always taking some kind of over-the-counter drug or prescription drugs, always feeling sick somehow, stomach aches, constipated, headaches, menstrual cramps, uterine fibroids, cystic fibrosis in my breasts. I had lumps removed from my breast, 3 of them. And I've had large uterine fibroids that shrunk on their own over 10 years. It took time, but I didn't, I never treated myself with medicine to heal. But the first 30 years of my life, I did take a lot of stuff. And when I had my daughter, I was in massage school, and I noticed, like, every day I would wake up not being able to have energy to get out of bed, not wanting to face the day, feeling depressed, feeling over anxious as well, and just poor energy, and having colds, having fevers and flus that show up every other day. I would wake up with something that I had to medicate with, and
it's so amazing to hear you say this.
Yeah,
but well, it is. But it is really what makes you who you are, because I get you come from that space of I get it.
I definitely, and I thought it was normal, first of all. I came from Jamaica in a household that, we used Comtrex and Dristan and things for Panadol and things to take care of any symptoms that would show up. And so it's normal to have those symptoms, and it's normal to get sick, and it's normal to go to the doctor and get prescriptions and so forth. So I did all that for 30 years. And I used to ask the doctors, why did I get sick? How did I get sick? And no one really ever could tell me. No one had an answer. No one, they said it's idiopathic. And that to me means I'm an idiot. Because
what does idiopathic mean?
It means of unknown cause.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What?
It means of unknown cause.
Wow.
Idiopathic.
There we go. She's writing it down.
So, and I really wanted to, I figured I strongly believe that I was doing something to create these illnesses I kept feeling and the poor health that I was in. And one day well, let me first explain that when I went to massage school, I had a teacher there that was a yoga instructor, and she taught massage, and then she decided to teach her students some yoga in class. And I did some things that were so painful, and I was in terrible shape. I couldn't touch my toes. I mean, I couldn't do anything I could do now, of course, but I was in such bad shape. I couldn't cross my legs sitting down comfortably. My knees were up in the air, I was in really bad shape. And
I know, right?
and she, took me and had me do privates with her. And through doing private classes once a week for about a year, I noticed how my joints and my muscles all started to heal through yoga. But she also brought into my life how to eat. And she just wanted me to start eating live foods. And I was like, what do you mean? I don't eat live fish. I'm thinking really realistically, yes. Live animals.
Yes.
I'm not, the first talk we had, I just didn't get it. And so she continued to express the actualness of our animals. They're not live when we eat them, right? And they have to die before you eat them in any case. So they're dead, no matter if you cook them or if they're raw. So that's dead food. And then you have foods that are processed. That's all dead food. None of it comes from the sun and rain and from the earth. And so she wanted to make me realize that my energy was so poor because my diet was very, very dead. It was not alive. So she started to get me to eat more fruits. So I started eating more fruits and not realizing the impact it had on me. But I started to have more bowel movements. And that's one of the things I suffered from all my life. I used to poop pebbles. And some days I didn't go for 3 or 4 days, and maybe once a week at times. And it's terrible, terrible odors. They were black. It was very, not very pretty. And I can tell you, my poop pretty now. It's very pretty.
Yeah, no, there's a difference.
I love that
odor-free.
You're probably the hot girl that shows up in the red dress at the party, and you're sitting next to someone, you're like, yeah, and they're like arm length now, they're like long and perfectly formed. I don't get pebbles anymore.
Let me not say perfectly formed.
It
all depends on what you eat. I have learned that it changes according to what you eat and how much water you're drinking, as well as how much water you're eating. Because our foods either contain water naturally, or we're trying to boil it into the food, and that doesn't work the same either. But when we drink a lot of water, that doesn't either hydrate the colon as either. So, but in any case, so I did the massage, I did the yoga, and then I decided during the yoga with my teacher that I was going to do only foods that were around during caveman time. I went to that point in my life where I said, you know what, I'm sick of being sick. I did not want to feel these pains in my body. I wanted to have energy. I wanted to have strength. During yoga, I didn't want to feel nauseous. I didn't want to feel tired and drained and like I couldn't do it when everybody else was doing it, and I couldn't. I felt like a failure. And I wanted to change that. So I got into eating these foods that were giving me life. And literally, I stopped eating anything processed. That was the first thing. No processed foods. It took some time to wean off the dead animals. It took about 6 months to come off of that completely. I started taking out meats, and then chicken. I had fish last, and then I removed all of that. And seafoods. And then dairy. Dairy actually was one of the foods I left behind me when I started to take a note of how it affected me. And so, in case you don't know, dairy is highly mucus forming, and it's very acid forming. It breeds your parasites. It causes either constipation or diarrhea. And literally, it's one of the hardest things to digest. So acid reflux, ulcers, all these things that we think that dairy helps, it actually is creating in the long run, so we're thinking long-term health. So when I took out all those things out of my diet, what was left? Fruits, vegetables, nuts. And literally I did become, I would say, I called myself at the time an earth foodian. I wouldn't say I was a vegetarian or a fruitarian. I don't like the labels. I just kind of find myself, I eat more earth foods, right? And so I went through about 10 months of just having fruits only, no vegetables and no nuts. This was like 10 months strict of fruits only, and that was the best time of my life. I had a 12-day healing crisis in the beginning, which is when you go through a serious detox. Your body goes through eliminating all the acids and mucus and so forth. You feel horrible. I was going through it in my lungs. I had suffered from asthma the whole of my life. I used to smoke cigarettes, and I definitely tried to do a lot of sports growing up. I swam, I ran, I did long jump, I played netball, I played volleyball, tennis, badminton. Should I go on? Anyway,
that's awesome. I didn't know that.
And so, in doing all that, I had these lungs that were always congested because I would always take a pill before a game, so I wouldn't have a cough, so I wouldn't have mucus, so I wouldn't sneeze. I would take decongestant, so I never had symptoms appearing in front of people. People never knew there was anything wrong, right? Because I was always medicated. So now that I stopped taking these medications and I stopped taking all the stuff to stop them coughing during these 12 days, I was coughing and sneezing, and mucus was coming out of me. First it came out clear, then it was yellow, then it was green, brown, and it turned out black.
Wow.
And
this is during the fruit cleanse?
This was during the fruit cleanse.
The first 12
days. Not the first 12 days, maybe a month into it. For 12 days, I had this huge detox.
Wow.
During that time, I was actually practicing. I had a 4-day weekend workshop with my yoga teacher, and her name is, by the way, Unmani King. And she actually has been through Landmark, and she's taken some of the Landmark onto the mat and use it as her Life Skills International type of. But in any case. So I was going to these classes, and during the time I had the upper respiratory issue, and I was told I had walking pneumonia, I should be in the emergency room, I should be on antibiotics, I should be taking all these drugs. So I refused. And I went to yoga, and my teacher, I was in the class hacking up and coughing and sneezing up. So I'm like, sorry, everybody, I'm so sorry I'm coughing on you, but you're not going to catch it because I'm just detoxing. You know, I'm doing this to myself. So no one was like fearful, right, that they were going to catch it, luckily.
Yeah.
And I tell you something, that's the thing. When people are coughing and stuff, you think it's something that we're told that they're all contagious, and we're told that there's something about that I don't agree with so much anymore. But I found that after that black mucus came up in that class, it came up during the class, I had this black mucus. The next day I woke up 100%. It was all gone. It was all done. I woke up feeling 100%. And since then, I've not had maybe a day of a flu or two. Like I had some salmonella poisoning because I did some bad, poor eating, recently. And that would be the one thing in 12 years I could say, like, put me under. But other than that, to the body, because also I reduced and eliminated a lot of things. So, for example, no more over-the-counter and no more prescription drugs have I taken in 12 years. And supplements, I used to take supplements up until about 5 years ago, 6, 7 years ago. I had something called the best vitamin in the world, it was called. And I felt like it was the best because my teacher introduced it to me. She was taking it, and she was really strong and powerful. And then when I started taking it, I felt really strong and powerful. Now think about the placebo effect, and how you think that when something works, it works. So now this company went out of business, and I could no longer find the vitamin. And I was so pissed. I was like, I'm not going to be the same. So I'm just going to have to really, really up my food and my fruit. And mind you, I was already eating well, but I find that I have to consume to keep that energy high, to keep not wanting to nap, to wake up at 5:45 every morning, to have an arm's length odor-free bowel movement before eating, before consuming anything. I must have at least 7 fruits per day throughout the day. So I may start off with a smoothie that has 3 to 5 to 7 different earth food items, fruits, veggies, nuts, and herbs. And then that may be, I consider that only 1 or 2 portions of fruit, and that's at one sitting anyway. So later on throughout the day, I may have at 2 hours later a handful of watermelon or strawberries or blueberries, and then a banana an hour or 2 later, and some oranges later. I will mix it up because I believe in eating the rainbows of colors of fruits. So I'm not a vegetarian or fruitarian now. I still do have small portions of animal food, and I may occasionally have fish or some chicken or meat, but portion is very important, portion size. I always say handful. If you can't fit it into your hand, it's too much. And if you are, some people eat for ethical reasons, choose not to eat for ethical reasons, but I kind of believe in the cycle of life. I kind of believe I see how animals hunt, how they prey. I just find that the way we do it, we're kind of barbaric. We put all the animals in the kens, in the fenced-in barns, and all this, and we make them just for that. They have no life, and their hormones, and we're eating their energy, we're eating their karma. When they go to slaughter, they know they're going to die. It's so much we have to pray over our food. There's so much different things that we have to take into consideration when we eat, and so I find people are interested in healing with foods, but are not willing to let go of the addictions.
Well, what do you think, for you? Because you were somebody that had you shift?
Well, what shifted me was the idea that I realized that I was making myself sick, and I was sick of being sick. I really found that when I started to believe that it was because what I was eating that created this imbalance, this unhealthy digestive system, this backed up eliminatory system, this feeding of parasites in me. I really felt that if I was eating this way and it made me feel this way, because there was nothing else coming in. It wasn't like I was around a bunch of sick people. It wasn't like I was outside under some chemicals and some radiation, and how they have electrostatic, these wires and things that people are living around that are getting all kinds of different diseases from. I wasn't exposed to that. It was literally what I was consuming, and how my energy was around certain people as well. Who we're around affects, of course, how we digest, and if we're nervous. I remember having jobs that I was was very unhappy in my employment. And when I would go before going to work, my stomach would be in knots. And so when I ate, nothing was digesting. It was ulcers coming, constantly. So a lot of things had to change. And I was so glad to come into massage because that was really soothing. I was helping someone feel great. They helped me feel great because I was helping them feel great,
That's your love language.
Yes. That's right. That's true. That's
Can we talk a little bit about the fruit thing? Because I can imagine people listening and being like, what? You ate fruit for 10 months. Does that include avocado?
Yes.
Includes cucumbers?
Yes.
Includes tomatoes?
Yes.
Anything with seeds, right?
Yes.
So it's not like you're just eating
Sweet,
berries.
not just sweet fruits. People think, fruits are sweet. No, fruits are not all sweet. There's all varieties of flavors and textures and colors that we just need to, try and get a little bit of everything.
And why did you exclude vegetables?
Well, I didn't necessarily, intentionally exclude it. I felt like I wanted to eat the foods that I could pick off of a tree. For me, if I went to see a broccoli, I don't think naturally I would want to just pick and eat a broccoli. I would want to cook that broccoli. I feel naturally I want to steam it. So like my asparagus and my broccoli, I steam those. I blanch them only 1 minute in boiling water and then take them right out. But even corn I would eat raw.
Yeah. And
I did actually have raw corn. I would find organic raw corn at the time. I probably had, but during the whole 10 months, maybe 3 of those, So... But I just happened to, it was an instinct. There was no logic at the time.
Yeah, it seems to be like, and I think that's part of what you teach. Like, because I was going to ask you, well, would you recommend this fruit thing to anybody? And it's, it may not be applicable for everybody.
Let me say to you that I would recommend it to everybody. I have had people that have come with diabetes and cancers and all different kinds of issues that are going on. And the reason I would say those foods versus what they are already eating, that's the whole point. We can't just take them off food completely, right? But it's what they're eating that is really feeding their disease and making it worse. Yeah. So for me to say to you, well, you really can't eat that, and most of it is dairy, your dead animals, your processed foods, your caffeinated foods, that's killing our adrenal glands. And what is left, right? It's your fruits and vegetables.
Earth foods.
Or earth foods. So I would say earth foods, not necessarily just fruits. I would go into your nuts and your botanicals and your herbs.
Are some nuts fruits?
Well,
like cashews, are those fruits?
Well, cashew is a fruit, right? Because it does, that's a fruit first, and then it's the seed that we eat. Yeah.
So let's think of somebody who's, they're in the world of processed food, all of that. And
a little bit here.
Where do we start? Like there are some like, some easy starters, some maybe shortcuts. I don't know, but things where people can start. I believe in baby steps. And sometimes when people are dealing with stuff like life-threatening, they may be more like radical with stuff.
No problem. The biggest thing about detoxification is to learn which foods are the ones that prevent you from going into detox. Foods that stop your detox. Those are the ones you slowly want to eliminate. So someone who comes to me and says they can't give up coffee and they can't give up yogurt, I'm going to ask them to choose one of those things and just start by taking less or having it every other day or slowly weaning off of it.
So just get we would start with for example, dairy. Because you don't want to take everything on at the same time,
right? And I mean, people can.
They
Some
can
have
if they're
ready.
Yeah,
if they are so ready and understand it and believe it, because some people don't believe it, and they're like, "All my life I've been told to eat this, and I've been eating it." And I said, "Now look at you."
Yeah.
That sounds like me when I used to be 200 pounds. Wow. And when I first moved to Florida, and the way I did it was like, I love chocolate and I love pizza. Those are my addictions right there. And so when I was in the process of doing it, I remember the Hershey's come in like little squares. I would just eat like 2 squares.
Right.
And then leave it, and I'll save it, and it'll last me like the whole week. And then little by little, it was like every other day, once a week, and then I didn't really need it anymore. It's just slow.
Yes.
So, yeah.
That's the way. That's a great way to start. And to also, increase your fruit, even if you can't get off certain things, at least add fruit. Many people are so fearful of it. And listen, if you are having sugar, insulin issues, and your doctor says don't eat sweets, or because you're diabetic, the idea is to find a fruit that is not that sweet, that does not affect you, and you should still monitor yourself if you are in that situation. But I have found that there are so many diabetics now eating fruit because I've asked them to start trying on something that's not a sweet fruit. Maybe the berries are really the best to start.
Apples.
Apples are good also. And the watermelon is good. It's just that you want to start with a small portion because watermelon and pineapple and banana have a little bit more sugar than most other fruits, but you just have small portions and see how it affects you. And you will notice that you don't need that much anyway to feel satisfied, to get that energy, right?
Wow. Thank you so much, Pele. I think we have a lot to learn from you, and I'd love for the listeners to know how they can find out more about what you do.
First thing is to go to Facebook, to Naturally Healing Inc. It's a group there that I have about 20,000 members, and I'm offering all kinds of information at no cost there. And then you could reach me by online, first of all, at my website, www.naturallyhealingsanctuary.com. And my phone number, if you'd like to send a text or call for an appointment for a massage. I do house calls and private yoga as well as the group yoga in Plantation, 754-367-1625. And pretty much
And you could do also remote things, like you could do consulting over the phone.
I do consulting via Skype, on the phone, web conference.
Now, for the local people in South Florida, August 30th, you're having a detox day
retreat
at your house, which is a beautiful sanctuary.
Right.
So if you want to find out more about that and you want to take advantage of this opportunity to be with Pele and to, possibly reset your system, because sometimes that's all it takes. It could be just like one detox that you go for it, and everything changes from there.
Right.
So thank you for being on today, Pele. You've definitely made a difference for me. I will definitely add more fruit to my diet, as will sunset.
Oh, yeah.
Yay.
As will
that too.
Word.
Yeah, berries, pineapple, and avocado. I have an avocado tree.
Yes. Good.
So awesome. So you guys, we're going to take the next couple of minutes to connect. So if you're in a place where you can sit down, spine straight, or you could be standing. If you can, go ahead and close your eyes. Let's feel together the realness of this moment. Let's feel together this breath, this Shakti Prana that runs through all of us, that unites us. It's the common thread. It's the common thread. What I do affects every being in the universe. Everything you do makes a difference. May I have peace in my heart. May I be happy. Today I seek forgiveness to anybody I may have hurt with my words, my actions, or my thoughts. And I forgive anybody who may have hurt me with their words, their thoughts, or their actions. For with an open heart, we can really come from a space of love and compassion and really do our work here on the planet as light workers, here to serve and master love. For that is who you are, and that is who I am. I thank you so much for tuning in today. We want you to know that we know who you are. You are light. You are thebomb.com. See you next week right here on ZNation, SoFloRadio.com. Peace out.
Broadcasting from the heart of downtown Hollywood. This is SoFloRadio.com.